Everything was perfect in the beginning. It's not God who brought hard time. Human beings caused hard time. Human beings caused hard time to happen. Not God. So, if you don't know that in life, hard time will happen, you'll be surprised. You will only be prepared for good thing, and it's a problem. If you're only prepared for that, you'll be shocked and offended. And you won't be ready to face challenges, and you say God is against you. You say God doesn't love you, because they never told you that hard times will come. The cycle. Life is made by seasons. Hard time cannot just only be financially. There are people who are well financially, but they have hard time in other areas. Things are not working in other areas. There are those who are divorcing now. They have money. They have to go to court. They have to share everything. They have time. There are times in other areas. Kids don't go to school. They're not prospering in school at all. They are failing. It's hard time for a parent. You're providing for money, and your children cannot make it. I saw one day on YouTube one Zambian, I don't know if you watch it, one Zambian man. I don't know how they cut him. He was beating his boy. How he spent, I don't know, more than 20,000 rand in the school, and the boy just did not make it. No, that man was just angry. So he said, no, that man worked hard to provide 21,000 rand, and the child brings useless result. It was hard for him. But the child could not understand that no, you should just not waste resources. So hard time exists. It will come. It doesn't depend on you. It's part of life. World system. And there are times of different kinds. There are hard times for God. As a desert, He chose a desert. Is that God found a way, found a desert, led them through. There are also hard times that come from yourself because of disobedience. But it's not God, it's yourself. But there are also hard times from the devil because he's tempting you. So you have to understand. But whichever way it comes from, you have to be ready. When you read Ephesians chapter 6, everyone knows this verse, the warfare. Chapter 6, verse 13. It says, this is in chapter 6, verse 13. It says, therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in evil day, and having done all to stand. Therefore, take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in evil day, and having done all to stand. So, evil days exist. But they say you have to take up the whole armor. So it means for you to take up the whole armor, you have to know the armor. You don't go to war, you don't know what kind of guns you have. So they say take all to stand. To stand means to wait until it's over. You can be waiting by standing still, but you can be waiting by praying and fighting, and nothing is happening, but you are just fighting. For how long? Until it gets to the end. One day, nobody knows. Sometimes it can take years, 2 years. Sometimes it can take years. So it says here, evil does exist, and God knows. That's why He warns you. It means every day in your life we have to get ready. That's okay in some areas. things will be tough. Evil days, you only get bad news. There are certain areas of my life I really fought. I questioned myself. Not because I sinned. It was just difficult. But I stood, and for years. During the time of David and all those kings, they can besiege a town, Jerusalem, for 2 years, for 3 years, under siege. No one out, no one in. I've been besieged sometimes. And all I have to do is to break the siege, to break through. And sometimes whichever door you knock at, it doesn't open. And you try, and it fails, and it fails, and it fails. And God says, and stand, I am your God, I'm fighting on your side. Continue. As long as I'm telling you, go ahead, go ahead. And the whole year passes. And 2 years come. No result. But I've been prepared by the Lord. We have to be prepared by the Lord. Great things will not come like this. Never. There are things you're going to get by miracles. There are things you will wait and work and search and do. Say, every done, all that God will tell you. If He calls you for prayer, prayer. If He calls you at midnight to wake up at midnight. If He says lie on the floor, lie on the floor. You have to do all to stand. To stand, you are standing, you are resistant. You are resistant. You can get wounded. You've been in warfare, you get wounded. You wake up, you are sick. And then you stay home sometimes, you take sick note. Because physically, you are not there. You rest. So, you have to learn. And the Bible says so. So if you believe, they'll say no. How come will never happen? You are deceiving yourself. When it will happen, you won't be ready. Sometimes answers don't come. Why? They are delayed. Why? Because people are involved, they are not yet there. Yeah. You are an answer for someone. If you don't obey God, there are people waiting for you to go and tell them to come to church. So they are going through hard times because you are not ready, or you are doubting, or you are fearful, or you don't have to be hurt. What will you do? They'll be waiting and praying for you every day. So God can make a way for them through you. But you are the only one around them. You are the only one to be a believer. You can be where you are the only one to be a believer. You are the only one as the light in that place. And everyone is going through hard times. And if you don't shine, they will stay in darkness for longer. So, it exists. It will happen to everyone. Genesis chapter 26. Let's start with chapter 26. There was a famine in the land besides the first famine. So, it's not the first time. There was famine in the land. Beside the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went to Abimelech, king of Philistines, in Gerar. Then the Lord appeared to him and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land of which I shall tell you. Dwell in this land, I will be with you. Bless you, for to you and your descendants I give all these lands. And I will perform the oath which I swore to Abraham your father. And I will make your descendants multiply than the stars of the heaven. I will give you your descendants all this land, and in your seed all the nations of the earth shall be blessed. Because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. So Isaac joined. You see here, before God would finish, he reminded him that your father obeyed me. So saying, Isaac, you have no option. It was the second time famine came. And the Lord appeared and told him, don't go. Once you are facing hard times, sometimes you don't need to move. You don't need to run. Sometimes you feel like you want to run. You don't run, you stay. He told him, you know the story. Stay there. What do we do when things are hard? Until God tells you run, don't run. God will always have answers for any situation that is hard. He can tell you, stay and do what I tell you to do. He can say, you leave, and I know what I will do. But before Isaac did something, God came immediately and appeared and told him. But the first famine, Abraham went where? To Egypt. What happened? He gave his wife to Pharaoh. God didn't want also Rebekah to be exposed because Isaac committed the same mistake with his fathers twice. He lied about his wife. So God didn't want Rebekah to go there because Deborah was after Sarah, after Rebekah. For Jesus' sake, he said, don't go. I want you here. It was the same situation that came for the second time. There was famine and it came again. It's a cycle. Don't think you just cruise in life every day. You just cruise in all areas. It doesn't work like that. That's why many people today are crying. Many people are going to after prophets. Why? Because they've been taught hard time will never happen. They grow home where everything is ready, everything is there. Parents never told them that, okay, my son, my daughter, in life, problems will happen. Situation can get worse. Get ready. That's why many are depressed. Because sometimes we want God to answer. He doesn't even answer. Sometimes the answer for you is not ready. Or the answer for you is not where you are. It's still coming. How? By flight, if possible. By car, if possible. By also a donkey. The person who's bringing it is very slow to understand. But the person is the hard to help you. But the person is far. Sometimes it's where you are the only one to go there and find the person. That is why I'm insisting every day. When we are doing intercession prayer, when you are being careful of the knowledge you are getting, you will never know which person God will tell you call. Your answer might be in the heart of someone that you need to say hi. How are you? That's all. And she will say, oh, I remember. I dreamt of you 2 days ago. So God has answered already. But the person is forgotten because people have problems. Hard time. God will appear, give instructions, and if you stay or if you do exactly, because the Ephesians says, you do all you know you are supposed to do. So, what the purpose is of hard time? Whatever God does, here's goals. Whether you know them or not, here's goals to achieve. Remember, God came in our life so we can be transformed. We become like Jesus Christ, we be like His Son. So, it's like He puts you in a mold. Life is like a mold. It's a molding machine to give you a shape. You know, God is a potter. He's a potter who will give you another shape. From the time you know God, after years, you will never be the same. If you are the same 2, 3, 4 years after you knew God, then there's a problem. If for everyone who knows God, change is compulsory. You will certainly change. And if you don't change, then when you question yourself, if you do really know God. So, one of the first purposes is to draw you near to God. Hard time will show you that you are a man. You are not God. Hard times will show you that you are not omnipresent, omnipotent. No, you are not omniscient at all. You don't know all. You are limited. Hard times will show you that you need help. Because sometimes, yes, you can be in a certain conditions, we feel like we don't need help. Yeah, Okay, if you don't need help, hard time will show you that before that time you will also ask for help, because everyone on earth will ask, search, and knock. Search, you'll find, ask to be given, and knock to be opened. It's for everyone. There is no exception for that. So if you know that, okay, me, I can never call and ask, okay, hard time will push you. And God will make sure that certain things will only get them if you ask. And if you don't ask, you stay there. That's why he himself said, ask me. Why God will ask us to ask him though he knows all things? What is the purpose? The purpose is to make you dependent. But nowadays, there is mindset of independent mindset. Yes, I'm alone. I will do it alone. You can't. You know in part. You prophesy in part. Do things in part. So, God, the only way God will break that mindset, that's the rebellious mindset. During hard time, you'll find yourself deficient and wanting something. That's where we give you answer. Call. If you cannot call, how will you socialize? If you cannot call, who will remember you? Who will remember you? If you cannot plant in people's heart, who will even mourn for you? Who will mourn you? Who will just do a funeral for you? Who will regret when you go? Can you just pass on earth like this and no one can remember you? No one can even regret the day you die? Then you've been useless. These are lessons God is want to teach you in hard time. That you will depend. You are a human being. Even God himself is dependent God on earth here. For God to do certain things on earth, he will depend on you. And when you tell God, I'm tired, say, fine, I wait for you tomorrow. God will wait on human beings. When you say, God, I don't know what to do, say, fine, tomorrow he comes again, my daughter, my son, can you do that? God will wait. God will wait. When you read Gideon's story, he said, God, can you wait? That guy, sometimes I get offended. How? He told God, wait. And God will wait. God is a patient God. Hard time will teach you patience and to wait on the Lord. So you can have the right answer. If you don't learn these lessons, that hard times are there, so can you draw yourself near to God. Draw near to me, and I will also draw you. So when you get closer to God, he also gets closer to you. It's not a one way, no. Hard time also is there to build characters of God in you. Godly characters. To kill ungodly characters and build up godly characters. Because without the characters of Jesus Christ, forget, you won't overcome. You will not overcome. You will not overcome. You will not overcome. Jesus came on earth. God came to conquer the earth on earth here. God saw that if he doesn't come on earth, so human being that he made, he won't have anyone. He knew. Devil was doing well. I'm telling you, he was doing well. Devil, he was doing well. And God says, I will go myself. I will become a human being. I will be like them. Can you imagine how devil was angry that for God to come on earth, he became like a human, not like an angel. For he wore the image of God. Devil longs to have the image of God that you do have. And God proved that I will be like Jesus came like a human being. So God knew that if I don't do anything at all, if I don't live my glory, and go to live on earth for 33 years, to go through hard time where there is no one to worship me, and his own creation ignored him. They ignored Jesus. And what job did he do? Carpenter. They're going to say, hey, it's not right here. We know everyone can correct the carpenter. Everyone. I don't like here. And the job he chose. God was ignored for 30 years. Before he could start his ministry, no one knew about him. No one worshipped him. For 30 years, God was on earth, walking up and down, ignored completely by his own. This was hard. He left all year so that for 30 years. So for you. So, to build up characters, hard time. If you are not a fighter, God will teach you to fight by fire, by force. And there are things, if you don't fight for them, you will never have them. He came on earth to conquer here. He could do it in heaven. He couldn't do it in heaven. He has to go after his own word, his own protocol to fulfill. The sacrifice was supposed to be done here. So the blood will cry from the ground, from the earth. Redemption, mercy. It's an altar, not in heaven. It's an altar here. So he has to come here and shed his blood down here. And men were supposed to kill him. So Jesus had to come to find Judas and eat with him and stay with him and give him the treasure and everything. So he can keep him safe. So hard time is there to build up character of God. So if you don't read the Bible, you don't know the character of God because we imitate God. The Bible will tell you exactly. Because there are certain characters, if you don't develop them, forget about it. Forget about it. There are things you never have. There are doors that will never open in your life if you don't learn from your hard time what God wants you. Hard times trains you. It's a time where God is testing you. He's preparing you. You can see Joseph, slavery, David, desert, and Saul. God will bring, if you are not a merciful person, I'm telling you, God will bring souls in your life. Those people will offend you a lot until you don't get offended anymore. Not devil, he will put you there. So you can prove to those people who need mercy. So when they will see that you are merciful, they will change. But at the beginning, they will offend you. Once you change, you will win. Perhaps they've never met someone merciful. All they knew is violence. All they've learned is violence. So God brings you there so you can learn to become someone different and you become reliable to them. So it's a training time. So you need to be prepared for a time. Preparation starts from the heart. You have to be aware that at times it is life is a cycle. Life is made of seasons. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes we do a party. Sometimes we do fun. Sometimes we also go through a time to learn a bit of the muscles. And for every challenge, we have grades in challenges. Not always be there, God, last year, this year, the last year challenge is not 22 challenge. No. As you grow, devil also upgrades the resistance and opposition, but also God upgrades his training so you can acquire more skills how to survive. We call it survival skills. See, if you don't acquire them, it will come again and you will perish. Clear? So, you prepare yourself in your mind, you know that hard times exist. Then, you prepare in your heart to know, okay, I have to acquire knowledge about the season of life in different areas where you know you are still having issues, in areas where you are still praying and the answers are not coming. And you seek for the will of God in that area. You say, God, what is your will here? If you know the answers, you need help, and you are the person who doesn't like help, humble yourself. You are proud enough, humble yourself, ask for help. Otherwise, it will stay longer. That's called preparation. Preparation means you analyze with God, you find areas, and you start working upon them. You start working upon them. You will never change an area of your life until you agree with God that you are wrong in that area. People can clap at you, but if God does not, you will not make it. And when hard times will come, when devil will come with his wings and just charge over you, you will perish. You will perish. Certainly. And when God will come to test you, so he can prepare you for temptation, he can prepare you for change, but he can also prepare you for greatness. You won't be ready. Then you say, God, it's too late. God, understand me. God, understand me. God, understand me. No. During hard times, you follow instructions. It means you have to increase in how you hear from the Lord. Don't just pray without hearing from God. It's a mistake. It's a dialogue. Develop. So God can give you instructions in the way you should go. I will teach you and show you in the way you should go. I will be with you. So, I will teach you. Psalm 32, this is Psalm 32. Let me go to the first thing. Psalm 32. What's wrong? Psalm 32? Yeah, verse 8. I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. Do not be like a horse or like a mule, which have no understanding, which must be harnessed with beads and brittle, else they will not come near you. So don't wait to learn by hard way. He will instruct you. During hard time, you grow to hear from the Lord, His voice. He says, Abraham heard my voice, not the word. Abraham heard His voice. God is a person. God speaks. During hard times, the airway is desertic for you. Learn to hear, to get knowledge, understanding, so you can instruct in the way you should. Not all ways lead to destiny. Not all places can lead you there. No. Not any path can lead you. No. There are ways on earth that if you don't go through those ways, forget about your destiny. You will certainly. I will teach you to teach me to sit down and you are listening. I will teach you, instruct you, the command. Go that way. Do that way. In the way you should go. You're going to have 10 ways. You're going to have 10 people there. Which is the right person? Learn to position yourself. I will guide you. He will be ahead of you. God will be your guide. We all sing that. They say, come, my son. Come. You tell him, come here. Come. Go left. Go right. Because He wants you to prosper. He wants you to be like Jesus Christ, who was led by Holy Spirit. As we start the Act 1, to be a witness. You cannot be a witness of something you don't know. You cannot witness something that you never saw. You have to know God by Holy Spirit so He can guide you and whisper. Otherwise, you perish by serpents. Because in the hard time, serpents, snakes, scorpions are there. If you don't survive, then you will perish and die. Let's stand up and let's pray. Holy Spirit.